Hello, I'm Phil Ernest, and I'm in Colonia del Sacramento, Uruguay. Colonia del Sacramento is just across the Rio de la Plata from Buenos Aires. There are different ferry companies that will take you across the river. For my trip, I went with Colonial Express. The price of a round-trip ticket was $78 US. The seats on the ferry were comfortable. Another convenient thing about the ferry is if you have an automobile, you can simply drive it on to the ferry like these people are. After a 1 hour and 30-minute ferry ride, I'm in Colonia del Sacramento. From the ferry terminal, it's a short walk until you hit the main street with all the restaurants and shops, eager to take your money. One of the first things I noticed when entering the town was things are a lot more expensive than they were in Buenos Aires. Some people choose to rent golf carts to get around the town. At the end of the street, that's where you will come to the waterfront, and that's where you'll find the pier, where people come to fish and sail their sailboats. Colonia del Sacramento is one of the oldest towns in Uruguay. It has a population around 27,000 people. In 1995, it was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Immediately, one of my favorite things about Colonia del Sacramento was the old-style Spanish architecture. It reminded me a lot of my past trips to Havana, Cuba, and Georgetown, Penang, Malaysia. I liked that a number of restaurants had outdoor patio seating for their customers to enjoy their food. While there were not a lot of them, the few older cars that I did see, I did enjoy. This is the Basilica Santissima Sacramento. It was built in 1810 by the Portuguese and is made entirely of stone. In 1995, it was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This Roman Catholic church is also one of the oldest in Uruguay. Modern Colonia del Sacramento produces textiles and has a free trade zone. In addition, the city also has a couple of casinos where you can gamble away your money. You are looking at the city beach where the locals come to swim and soak up the sun. But on this day, the clouds are gray and the weather is cold. This is an example of the typical artwork you will see around the city. This one depicts the old city meets the new city with the lighthouse. The public school where the children attend has an old-style classic colonial look to it. Towards the start of my walk to the old historic district, I came upon a few old, dilapidated buildings. We are now at the wharf of Colonia del Sacramento. This was built in 1866. Under a dark gray sky, the large Uruguay flag waves proudly. When I first made plans for a day trip to Uruguay, this was the Uruguay I had envisioned seeing, with its cobblestone streets and its buildings made of stone. The old historic district of Colonia del Sacramento did not disappoint. This is Calle San Pedro, a typical street in the historic district. Beyond the stone pillars is Porta de Campo, the city gate and wooden drawbridge constructed by the Portuguese in 1745 to keep intruders out of the city. This is the Colonia del Sacramento Lighthouse. Constructed in 1800s, it stands 88 feet high or 27 meters. The lighthouse is open to the public, but it does have a small admission fee. Overall, I enjoyed my visit to Colonia del Sacramento. It's a nice walking town and a nice change of pace from the fast, busy Buenos Aires. If you're going to be in Buenos Aires and have an extra day, I highly recommend getting on the ferry boat and going across the river to this beautiful town. It's an easy way to getting another stamp on your passport and adding Uruguay to one of the countries that you have been to. Uruguay would be my 6th country in South America and my 46th country overall. A special thank you to Leroy for coming up with this trip suggestion. I thoroughly enjoyed my visit, and I thank all of you for watching.